So I'm really excited because today we're doing something a bit different. In a few minutes, I'm gonna be joined by a special guest and we're gonna talk about the 80s and her film and television career, and we're just gonna chat and have a good time. Now, if you follow my channel, the odds are you're already familiar with her work.
We're here. You're the ones we saw in front of the castle.
If Casanova and I had nothing to say to each other, he'd get bored. Go away. Instead, he uses it as a chance to put his testicles all over me.
His what?
I am so excited to have with me right now the super talented and wonderful Miss Diane Franklin. Diane, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much for having me, Kurt. I'm so excited to be here on 80s Life, right?
Well, it is my pleasure. So I have got a ton of silly things to ask you and limited time, so I'm just going to get started. We all know you have done a ton of stuff. I just showed some clips from some of the things that you have done. And of course, we all know you from Last American Virgin and Better Off Dead and Bill and Ted's and Amityville 2. And that's just to name a few things. Out of everything you have done, what was your favorite thing to film? What was your favorite thing to make at that time?
That's a very good question because I actually have thought of that myself. Meaning, like, I said, like, what was my best memory? And I have to say, it's because the tones of everything that I did were so different. It's hard in a way to pick, but I mean, I would have to say the film that I love all the films I did and the work I did because I got to play different characters. But I have to say my personal favorite would be Better Off Dead. Right? Okay. Because I had a really nice role. It was a really good role model for girls. And I just love the story. It's romantic and it's funny and it's quirky. I don't think anything's been made like it since. So that's where I have my answer. Yeah, I think Better Off Dead.
Now, was that your favorite to make? Because I was going to split this question into two and ask next, what is your all-time favorite out of everything? But is it the same answer for both?
Okay. Well, that's a hard one. That's a hard one. Okay, so I'm just gonna have to like give you a couple of answers. One is I really think my performance in Last American Virgin was in the 80s probably one of the best performances I gave, only because I am nothing like Karen. And so when I look at the performance, I mean, I'm not nothing. There's part of me, obviously, that when you play it as an actor, you have to, bring out parts of you. But that performance, when I watch it, I lose myself. And lose myself in the story. That was my first film, so it meant a lot to me. So on a deep level, that was a very special film for me to do. And I would have to say that, it's funny. I did a movie called Amityville Murders, and that film was a sequel to Amityville 2: The Possession. And I think the greatest moment of my life was having done Amityville 2: The Possession, playing the daughter, and then in Amityville 2 Murders, decades later, playing the mother. So I'm very proud of that, both experiences, because you get to see me. I mean, there's been no other actress who's ever played the daughter and the mother in basically the same story. So I got to experience both perspectives as an actress. So those two films together were very meaningful to me, and in a different way, like really special. Gosh.
So basically, the way you're saying, it's impossible to answer this question.
It is. I mean, another thing, I had a blast making this movie that we called Summer Girl. If you've never seen it, it's a movie for television. Such a fun character because I played a multiple personalities. Okay. And it was kind of those of you who know Sybil was a TV movie back in I think it was the 70s, I think. And it was just incredible to watch. I remember watching it as a young actress, and then when I got this part of in Summer Girl to play this babysitter who has all these different personalities, that was just so fun as an actress to do, and also it was intense. And I actually was up for an Emmy for it. It was the only film that I ever was up for an award. So yeah, nominated. So anyway, but yeah, no, there's a lot. And I think it's just the type of experiences that are so different. I mean, we could go down memory lane, but I have to say Ty. Ty is my answer.
Okay, I won't make you pick. All right. So one of the most popular things that I do on my channel is I make filming location videos where I show people their favorite 80s and 90s movies. I show them where they were filmed and what the locations look like today. So I'd like to talk to you about locations for just a minute. Great. So starting with Better Off Dead, we all know Ricky's house, Lane's house, right across from each other. Did you all actually film inside the houses, or did they recreate the interiors on a set?
Oh no, that was actually filmed in the houses.
Okay.
And I remember it's funny because I didn't really know Los Angeles that well. I had no idea where we were filming. They just drove me to the location because I'm from New York originally. So when I got to the house, I didn't know until really recently where the house was. And I got actually asked to do an interview in front of Monique's house, like decades later. Like I think probably in 2019, I did this movie. So I guess it was a retrospective or something about conventions or something, and they had me meet them at the house. And so I got to have shots in front, like today, wearing my Better Off Dead coat in front of Monique's house and Lane's house, because they are across the street from each other. And I'm really glad you do that, because to me, like where things are shot, it's very interesting to stand in a place and know that, it was just a matter of time. If you time traveled, you would be in that same spot where those actors were, where they had that moment, where they experienced that character. And I think that's very exciting to me. Like, it's definitely, I don't know. I love it. I'm glad you do that. So yes,
that's so cool.
We did shoot all of those in the actual houses. I know we shot like the throwing lemon scene in front of Monique's house. We may have shot the inside of Monique's house. Well, no, I don't know. I don't think we could have. It must have been in Monique's house because in the Smith's house, because I realized we did shoot living room scenes in Lane's house. And so that had to have been Lane's house. I don't think they would have doubled it. So yeah. So I think we did use both houses.
And that's so cool that you find filming location videos interesting. I've talked to some other actors and actresses that kind of don't get it and they think it's weird. Like, why are you going back to that?
No, the only thing I say is don't bother the people. Like go to the location, but don't walk in and go, hi, can I come in? Although I will tell you this, when I shot Amityville, we shot it in Toms River, New Jersey for the exteriors for Amityville, The Possession, Part 2, and the interiors in Mexico City. And, but one day, I am going to go to the actual Amityville house and I'm going to knock at the door and I'm going to go in, because I have done now 2 Amityville movies, and the people, I'm from Long Island. I lived, it's town near Amityville in Plainview. And so I feel like that's my bucket list, so awesome. Hopefully one day. You
got to film it when you do it.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
And so let's talk about Bill and Ted's. So all of your scenes in England, where did you film those? I haven't done a Bill and Ted's video yet, so I haven't researched every little thing for the location. So where did you do all the England scenes?
Well, I'm glad you said that, because, most people think obviously we were in a castle, so we must have been in England. We actually shot that, the scenes in a castle in Italy near Rome.
Now, I knew the castle was there. I didn't think that you actually went. I thought maybe they used establishing shots.
No, we actually flew us there, which is interesting, because you're thinking like, why would why wouldn't they just create a set on that and make it happen? But I think probably it was just more economically feasible to just fly the main actors out, and then they hired an Italian crew and Italian extras. So it was a real castle, and it was beautiful. And I guess they probably do tours at this castle. It was the castle, or I think Orsini. And so I remember getting there, and what they did is they had to take all of the, like those red barriers, that they put it like a museum. They took them all away, and we got to sit on the original beds that were in the castle. Like, we got to touch the tapestry. It was pretty incredible, pretty beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like being in a museum and just touching things and living in it, and sitting in chairs that royalty sat in. Pretty incredible.
What an amazing experience. Wow. Now, you kind of already answered this question. One of the questions I get asked all the time by my subscribers is, do you think that the actors and actresses in these movies ever go back and revisit these filming locations and kind of relive it? And my answer is always, I don't know. But if I had to guess, well, I'm sure it's different for each individual, but my guess is usually no. I assume that for most actors and actresses, it's a job, and when it's done, they move on and it's done with. But so do you ever go back? I know you said that you went and did an interview at the Better Off Dead house, but
usually, well, first of all, a lot of locations are no longer there. Sometimes you go to, especially like you go to a place and it's gone, or it's been changed to something completely different. When I was actually genuinely surprised that the Monique and Lane house were still there, and it is, people drive by and take pictures and stuff. So I thought that was really cool. I don't go to the locations I've been shooting usually, but I do, I would say that if I was shooting at a film studio and I was in the town or the city, I would go visit. Like, I have not, but I would make a thing of it if I was near there. I just think a lot of my work has been on location. I actually, it's funny. I used to think that all actors traveled. And I have some friends of mine who never left the United States when they did acting in the 80s. They did everything in the US. And for me, I traveled to New Zealand, Australia, Rome, Prague, Mexico, England, I just all over, which is kind of interesting, to work as an actor and to travel. So if I did live in those places, yes, I would go back.
Now, what about, I've already done a filming location video for Last American Virgin. Have you been to any of those? When was the last time you were at any of those locations?
Oh, okay. So I wouldn't say pretty close, but I actually probably live near, or I've driven by the high school that I did Last American Virgin, but I didn't stop by. But I remember when I drove by, I went, oh, I've got to go and visit. So I think it's pretty cool that it still exists. You probably know the name of the school more so than I do.
Reseda High School.
High School, yeah.
And then Birmingham High School is where you did the pool scene.
The pool scene, right? Yes. That's right. See, I didn't even know that. So now you've got me on my bucket list. I want to go to Reseda High School and Birmingham High School, and I think that'll be trippy. If I do go, I will take a photo and I will send it to you. Okay.
Well, I have to say, I think it would be pretty amazing for you to go back to quite a few of the locations from Last American Virgin, because it was your first movie, and I think it, like you said, very special to you. I think it would make an amazing video. Would you have any interest, maybe in the future, doing a video with me? Taking you to some of those locations?
Let's do it. Let's go on location. Let's drive from place to place. Okay, let's do it. Oh, that would be
amazing. I think to get there and to get your reaction, and have your memory, that would be amazing. So
plus, when I did Virgin, I was just flown right from New York. I'd never been to Los Angeles. It was the first time I was there, and I had no idea where I was, and I was just taken from place to place. So all I remember in my mind and the images in my head are I have an image, and it would be really interesting, especially even where Rick took me in the football field, like that one. just would really be fun to go back to that place. And so, by the way, yes, definitely make that happen. And if you're watching this and you're interested in this, also tell Kurt, what you're interested in me going to. So that'd be really fun.
I'm really excited. So we're going to make this happen.
Very good.
Okay, so before Last American Virgin, all you had done before that was, I believe, 6 episodes of As the World Turns, and then you went straight from that to pretty much starring in a full-blown movie. And you were young; you were only 20 years old, I believe. So
19. I was 19 when I did Virgin. 20 when I did Amityville 2: The Possession.
So how was that experience going from just doing a few TV episodes and now all of a sudden you're starring in a movie at such a young age? Was that something for you?
I actually started acting when I was 10. And with that, I did modeling and commercials and voiceovers and theater. And then I did the soap opera. So by the time I had auditioned for a lot of movies. By the time I got the lead, I think actually the only other part I did was I did an extra job in the movie Endless Love with Brooke Shields. That was the only other film take as an extra role, which I highly recommend for any actors to do. I really think it's a great experience to be on set, to see how everyone works, what you need to know, how to behave, work, set protocol. And my life at that time was, I was going to New York from Long Island on the train by myself, like going for auditions in New York City as a young girl, and like going for the auditions and getting a subway and taking the trains. So I was very prepared by the time I got Virgin, to the point that I flew by myself to Los Angeles at 19, screen tested by myself and got the film and stayed to do it. So when I think of my own daughter at her age doing this at 19, or most people, I would be like, oh, how could you do that? That's, how could you do that? But I was so experienced and prepared, and prepared, I have to say, emotionally. It's not just acting, but you have to be ready to handle all kinds of situations. So I think that's important. I had a manager, I had an agent at the time, but you're expected at a young age, when you're an actor, young actor, professional, to be able to know how to handle situations. And you're also very well taken care of. Like, everything's very on the books. Nothing's weird or, kind of awkward. When you do it professionally, everything is legit. They won't let you do it. I was with SAG union, everyone's, making sure you're safe and all that stuff. So in answer to your question, it was a big deal, but it was, I was able to do it at a young age.
You're ready. Okay.
Doing it so early. Yeah. And you're right. You're correct. It was the right to a lead. But by then I knew I could handle that because I had been working so long and waiting for a break. I really wanted to get a break. So
what about having to do the love scene again? Your first real movie, such a young age, was that just completely nerve-wracking, or were you were already such a pro that you were able to handle that too?
Oh, I loved it. I was 19.
Okay.
I loved it. But the other thing was, I was nervous. I didn't think I was that nervous, but the director was like, "Oh, Diane, you're like a little nervous, Sure, because it was my first time, Sure. But I also just saw on so many levels. The most important thing I knew was, I remember saying to myself, I know that I can make this role. I can show people all these different aspects of being a young woman. Really, like I had a depth that at the time, which I knew was something that, I think a lot of girls have depth, but they might be too afraid to show it. I don't know. So for me, it was just like, I knew I had something special that I needed I could bring to the role. I could make it deeper. I wasn't scared or afraid or like, oh my gosh, like what am I doing in this world? And I don't know how to do this. And oh my gosh, I'm going to be like, you know, without my clothes and like, how am I going to do that? And I was more like, no, I'm going to do this and it's going to be deeper and have meaning. I think the hardest part for me was that the tone of the film shifts so drastically. It's like a goof, you know, it's like a sex comedy and it draws the guys in with the sex, but then you learn about love. Right. And if you had made it a love story, no guys would see it. It would have been just like, you know, it would have turned them off. But by drawing guys in, I really feel like Virgin's a very special film because it's almost like as I always say, it's like sex education for guys and love education. You know, you don't leave that movie, you leave that movie thinking and feeling if you're a guy.
What a great answer.
Thank you.
One more question about Last American Virgin. Towards the end of the movie, after you have your medical procedure, Gary comes to visit you in the hospital and he brings you a Christmas tree and a bag of oranges. Do you have any idea why he brings you a Christmas tree and a bag of oranges?
All right. So first of all, because it takes place in California, we have to know that time has passed. So he brings the Christmas tree to show that it's Christmas. Okay. And that would give a reason for him to be away on a ski vacation. Okay. Like his parents think he's at the ski vacation. So he brings a Christmas tree to establish that it's near Christmas. He also, now the oranges, this has been an interesting conversation. I've had this with some other people. And then since then I found out more information. So the first thing I found out was I used to think that the oranges were a reference to saying that it was in California. Mm-hmm. But I was told by Boaz's daughter that the oranges are given in Israel as every time you go visit somebody in the hospital, you bring fruit. I think you can bring a watermelon. You could bring, I don't know why, but it seems to be an Israeli tradition that I had no idea about. And so there you go. It could have been a watermelon. They chose oranges. But it is funny, isn't it? You bring it to the hospital as feel better. I don't know.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just thought it was really funny. Obviously, yeah, like you said, it's Christmas time I got it. But the fact that he brought it to the hospital. And so I pointed it out in my filming location video, kind of, you know, poking fun at it. And I was surprised. It was supposed to be humorous, but people in the comments of my video came to the defense of Gary and they were, you know, like, no, that's totally normal. And that's sweet that he did that. And a couple people said the reason why he brought this stuff was because the movie's a remake of an Israeli story, but they didn't really go further into it. And I'm like, well, what is that? But there you go.
Yeah, there you go. It's a tradition. It's like I guess it's like at a wedding we throw rice, right? Don't know why, but there you go. So but the mystery is now solved. If you look in Israeli tradition or culture or whatever, you're gonna find people bring it to the hospital. So there you go. Nice and sweet.
Yeah. Okay, Last American Virgin was 82, Better Off Dead 85. A little bit of time had passed. Do you feel that your acting style changed between the two movies?
The film styles changed.
Okay.
My goal as an actor is to always be real to the material and the style of the film. Okay. So every time I go to a role, I have to be as real as possible for what I'm playing and bring my own emotion and my own emotional understanding of the character to the role. So Virgin, I was the object of desire. I had to pull back on my personality. I had to pull back on my opinions. I was the one that you look at and talk about. So that is what the focus was. So it wasn't as much as like I could have played it differently. It's that's who the character was. And often when we look at someone and we don't meet them, we assume a lot of things. We don't know who they are, but we kind of just watch them and we assume things from their behavior and, well, you know, our desires, right? Mm-hmm. So with Better Off Dead, though, I have to say the most wonderful thing about playing Monique was that I got to play a girl who at the beginning of the film, just like Karen, quiet, didn't talk, but she didn't talk, and we thought she was shy, when in truth, she was a very full-formed young woman, and she was very opinionated. And by the way, there are many people out there who are very opinionated. In fact, I have to say, most people who are very opinionated are very quiet because they're not saying what they think. They're just quietly listening, and they're just, taking in the information, but they have their own very strong opinions. So those shy people, okay, I know what you're up to. I know what's going on. So Monique was that, finally, only when you get to know her do you understand what a cool person she is. So we got to know Monique when we didn't really get to know Karen. We never really saw Karen's family life, her opinions. We never saw her really talking about how she felt. And I always felt like Karen was sort of a feather in the wind. She wasn't a full-formed person yet, but Monique is full-formed. And that's why I really loved that role. I really loved playing that character. And so I guess by the mid-'80s, we were accepting that young women had personalities and had opinions. And I'm going to bring that from Molly Ringwald, from 16 Candles and all that. She was the first lead female role where we followed her emotional arc. And that was a huge thing because before it was always the guy's emotional arc. It's John Cusack's emotional arc or whatever other characters there were, before. So this is the first time a young teenager got that storyline, and that is what allowed Monique to be created. I really think she could have Monique could have been just the girlfriend he met in the story and fell for. Again, she could have been an object, but we get to know her. And so that's what happened, I think, in the 80s. Women got more of a chance to be who they are and be loved for being capable. Oh my gosh, you can fix a car, and you can be athletic, and you can you can speak other languages, and you can help someone get out of a bad mood, and you are somebody who is a doer, not just a watcher. All right.
Right. Now, okay, speaking of Monique, I want to talk about your accents really quick. Was the casting call for Monique, was it specifically a French foreign exchange student?
Yes, the casting was for a French foreign exchange student, and I was actually not brought in for the role of Monique. I was brought in for the role of, which I didn't know until later, Beth, or maybe even the singer, but really Beth. Or yeah, for that one I was more Beth.
Okay.
I had no idea. All I knew is when I got the script, I bonded with Monique. I knew this character. I wanted this character so badly, and I walked in with the intention of just saying, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be Monique and talk like this. And I went into audition and I spoke like this. And I said, I think I can do Monique. I think you should consider me for the role. And I threw Savage Steve Holland and Michael Jaffe, the producer, for a loop because they did not expect it. And they were surprised and they were laughing. And because I was so the character. I showed them what is great about that character.
Did you know you could do a French accent before you went in there?
I actually did play a French girl in a movie before called Second Time Lucky. I had shot that film in New Zealand. And in that film, that's the first film that I got to do a lot of the dialects. I did a English dialect. I did a French dialect. I did a New York dialect talking like this. That's kind of Long Island, but it was kind of talking like old style New York. And yeah, I just had a lot of different experiences with doing different voices. So on that film, the director, Michael Anderson, gave me a lot of creative freedom. So that was what gave me the confidence then to go in and play Monique.
Well, I'll say you had me fooled for many years. I had no idea that you weren't really French. And when I found out, I was devastated. And then that's when I started realizing, wait, Monique and Karen and Princess Joanna are all the same person. And so, yeah, you had me fooled for many years. So
thank you. I'm really glad you said that because I actually was watching a television show recently, and there was someone who had a dialect, and I thought, oh my gosh, wait a minute, Diane, you're believing this character so deeply that this is an actor, they're doing this voice, but that is the beauty. Thank you for thinking I was French. In fact, all right, I'm French, but I do a very good American dialect, so I don't I don't want to blow it for you, all right? My American dialect is fantastic.
I read, I don't know if this is true, I read that you sang the national anthem at a Dodgers game. Is that true?
Yes. Oh my gosh, what a thrill.
How did that come about?
And by the way, I have something very fun to tell you. Okay, so I studied opera when I was younger. I never really had a really big voice. I loved singing in musicals and school musicals, but I had trained. And so what happened was years went by. I had a manager at the time, and I went to a Dodger game, and they had the big Tron, and on the Tron they played 80s movies. And I thought, oh my gosh, if they're playing 80s movies at a Dodger game, what about Better Off Dead? We shot that actually in Dodger Stadium in 1985, on home plate, like just right there. So I thought maybe they'd be interested in doing a signing or something. Or anything. I just kind of was like, there's something that we could connect since they're going back to the 80s. So my manager at the time called Dodger Stadium, and they said, well, we don't do signings, but would Diane like to sing the national anthem?
Wow.
And they didn't even know I could sing. Okay, they didn't even know. And so the manager came back and he said, well, they would like to know if you would sing, or do you sing? If you do, would you like to sing the national anthem? Or they also said, or it might be the French anthem. And when they said that, I was like, oh, I don't know. I really, at first I'm thinking, yeah. And then when I started thinking about it, I was like, I really can't sing the French anthem because it's not my country. And I felt it was disrespectful. I know that's really weird. I was like, it's like, I'm American and this is my anthem. And it was very weird. I'd never even occurred to me, but it just hit me on, I think, a deep level. Like, I hope they don't ask me to sing it. And they wound up saying, no, we're going to have her sing the national anthem, which was great. Okay. So what happened was I wound up going there, and they test you first. They said, okay, we're going to test you to see, how you sing it. And if we like it, then you're going to go right down and sing it. And if not, then we'll put you, we'll just play like a recording. And when I went there, I started singing, oh, sing, like the whole thing. And they went, cut. Okay, good. She's in. Put the earphones on. Literally, I sang like a bar of music with the orchestra woman, the pianist, the lovely pianist. And 2004, sang the national anthem.
Tonight's national anthem to be performed by Diane Franklin.
Oh, say, can you see?
And when I was there, Tom Hanks and I think Carl Reiner, I don't know if that Carl Reiner, I think were in the audience at the time. I think it was Carl Reiner. But anyway, I was so excited, and it was such a gift. And people came up to me afterwards, and because I had kind of an operatic singing, people were like, that's the way the anthem should be sung. And they were really happy about it. So at some point, I don't know if I'm able to. I know Dodger Stadium is a little uncomfortable about people showing their singing, but maybe at some point I'll play it for my fans.
That would be really cool. Was that, it sounds like it had to be an amazing experience. Was it had to also be a little nerve-wracking. Was it more so than doing a movie?
Oh, very, yes, okay. Absolutely. Because when you sing, you hear the nerves in your voice, and you have to be very relaxed. In fact, one of the things I did, my acting training really helped me with my singing, because I not only practiced my scales and the song, but what I practiced was relaxing in an instant. So like just in 1 second, can you relax your neck, your body, your shoulders, your stomach? And because I knew that I'd be nervous, and if I couldn't relax in a second, then I'd be in trouble. I would be, I'd choke up, get nervous. So my acting training actually did help my singing. It was great. It was a gift. It was absolutely a gift, because I do sing. I love to sing, but I'm not a singer, and that's like, I think a singer is someone who does it for a living, and it's a life. But I do have a surprise that I'm going to reveal here on your show that I have not revealed yet.
Okay.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So speaking of singing, so everyone knows, I mean, now that I came up with this book, Better Off Dead, the excellent comedy of the last American French exchange babe of the 80s. This is my new book that is based on Better Off Dead, the film that it just came out this year. I've worked in it for a couple of years. It has everything you ever wanted to know about Better Off Dead behind the scenes, because Savage Steve Holland gave me like 30 pages of information talking about his experience making the film as well. Plus I got interviews from the Paperboy and Beth and the character of Beth, Amanda Wyss, and Curtis Armstrong and Aaron Dozier, all the different characters. So because I have this book out, one of the things I told the people who follow me, my fans, was that there are going to be some special surprises this year. So one of the things that I'm going to be doing, talking about singing, is I actually wrote a song. I wrote the words, I wrote the music. I am going to be I made a video, and it is going to be a tribute. It is a promotion for my book. And it is very fun, and it's going to come out in the fall. I'm not sure. I'm going to try for September, but if not October, but I think I'd like to get it out sooner than later. And it is a little present to everyone who likes Better Off Dead, for being fans. And so whoever watches it, I think you're going to really enjoy it. It's a really fun thing. And I'm singing, so you get to hear me sing. It'll be my first, probably one-hit wonder, right?
How exciting. And an exclusive for 80s Life. Thank you for sharing that with
You're
us.
welcome. This is, I think, the first time I mentioned this happening. So everybody, please follow me on social media. Follow me on, Twitter. I don't know if you write it down. Twitter, I'm on Twitter, and Instagram, I'm under actress Diane Franklin. Twitter, Diane Franklin 80. Facebook, you have to go to the official Diane Franklin Facebook because my other one is full. So look for the black and white books, and then get your Better Off Dead book if you like it. Very, very good.
I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to talk to you about the book. Real quick, I was going to say, going back to the Anthem, you said it was very nerve-wracking. Were you afraid you were going to get nervous and accidentally refer to them as the Brooklyn Dodgers?
Oh.
Ever cross your mind?
Can I just say, bravo. No one has ever said that, and I love it. You are the first. I should have said the Brooklyn Dodgers. Yes. Well, I should have sang it with the French dialect, is really, oh, see, can you see?
So I got to tell you, I did, like I said, I already did a full Better Off Dead filming location video. And when I went to Dodger Stadium and showed Dodger Stadium, I made the joke, this is Dodger Stadium, home of the Brooklyn Dodgers. And I thought it was a pretty obvious joke. You would not believe the amount of comments that I received on the video saying, wow, you really don't know anything about sports, do you? It's the LA Dodgers. Oh, you sure don't follow sports. What do you mean? And I was just, my mind was blown.
Right. Well, because, the new generation, most of them have not seen Better Off Dead. So it's an inside joke.
But that's why it's weird that they were watching a filming location video on the movie. Yeah, it just
that's interesting. Yeah, they didn't get that inside thing. Well, that is funny. Wow. Yeah, the Brooklyn Dodgers, it's such a funny, there's so many funny little quotes and things from that film. So little, like you suddenly go, what? Wait, did I hear that? Right.
Do you ever get frustrated hearing people refer to you as an 80s actress? I mean, you've got a long career, you've still got a lot to come. So does that ever frustrate you being referred to as an 80s actress?
No, actually, I have to say that I probably allowed people to say that early on, because I thought, I am still acting now, and a lot of actors do not want to be pigeonholed in their decade. But I know that for me, the reason why I love it, I think it's awesome, is because I am part of people's memories from growing up. And so that is why I embrace it. I don't think it's an insult, and it has no bearing on my performances now. Now I'm playing totally different characters. The work I've done, like I'm in a movie called High Holiday now with Tom Arnold and Jennifer Tilly. She's my friend. And I was with Cloris Leachman. That's like, it's going to be at Christmas. You know, it actually was done a few years ago, but when, you know, I think it was Cloris Leachman's last film, but it's coming out this year. I mean, it came out, but it's on Peacock. And this is the first Christmas that it will experience. So high holiday, you know, since the legalization of marijuana, you'll enjoy that film. So, but no, as an 80s, you know, like 80s babe or something, I feel like, you know, even like being called an 80s babe. Okay. So like, okay, yeah, I guess that's sexist today. You know, you don't call somebody a babe, but at the same time, it's done in a loving way. And I feel like it represents what was going on in culture in the 80s. I mean, if you were hot, you were the babe. Okay. And I was born in the, and my work is done in the transition time of girls being objectified to girls taking a stand up for their own. By the way, of course, that's still happening and always is a struggle for girls to be respected and taken seriously. But at that time, that was what my world was. So there are people who are going to look at me and go, you know, oh, I remember her, like whatever, that, you know, if they had a crush on me, or if they liked the movies I did. And then there are people who will look at me and, you know, new generation might go, oh my gosh, you know, that was so silly back then. Or, you know, it's every audience is going to see it differently. And I just think that I want to, the 80s, being seen as an 80s actress is a gift, you know, and people remember me, that's a gift, not a given.
Awesome. Great answer. I love it. I'm glad you brought up the book. I was going to bring that up. Is there, I mean, you just talked about the new movie coming out too. Is there anything else you have coming up that you want to talk about? Let everybody know about?
That's a good question. I've got the music video. There might be a magazine coming out by a gentleman named Kevin Talley. There's a magazine he has called Moda. And that's got, he just did he did like a cool modeling shoot with me, which was very beautiful and cool. But for those of you, I do want to mention something that Better Off Dead is, so this is all about the film and is also for kids too. So this is general audience, okay? Anybody can see this and you'll get a real big kick out of it. But for you who like Virgin, I did another book, and this is called The Excellent Curls. So look for Curls, look Diane Franklin books, and this one's The Curls. This one is the background story on Virgin. Like if you love Virgin, this is a must because it has photos, stories, background. This is not child appropriate. I'm going to say over 18 for this one. Nothing really bad, but subject matter, right? Like, so you want to be a little bit more careful of this. But Curls is the one for Last American Virgin people. And then I have my original book. This is called Excellent Adventures. And this is for somebody who, if you want to be an actor, how do you like grow up in the suburbs and then become a famous actress or a movie star? How does that happen? This book tells everything how I did. But the funny part is in this book, I have the chapters rated. So some are rated PG, some are rated R. So if you get this book, you're going to have to, you know, tell your kids not to read, don't read this, but read that. So, but you get to read the whole thing. So, 3 varieties. I've written these books. This is a while back, but so just look up Diane Franklin books and you'll see the 3 different ones.
Diane Franklin, thank you so much. I cannot thank you enough for taking time out of your busy schedule to sit down and chat with me. I really, really appreciate it. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you so much. And if you're around, I'm going to be at LA HorrorCon on October 2nd and 3rd, I think, whatever the weekend is. So if you're in LA, come visit me. I'm going to be there and I will have my books and I'll sign autographs and we will have a most triumphant time.
We will definitely have to come out. We will have to come out and say hello then.
Good.
And I am going to keep in touch with you and try and make that happen with us going to check out the Last American Virgin locations.
Please. I would adore it.
All right.
All right.
Again, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Take care.
All righty. Bye. Au revoir.
Bye. Wow. How cool was that? Diane Franklin. I got to admit, I was a bit nervous. I didn't want to say anything in front of her, but I'm a bit of a fan. So that was really cool. And so a huge, huge thank you to Diane Franklin for taking the time to sit down and chat with me. That was just so much fun. And I also have to give a very huge thank you to DJ Stephen Wayne, because he was actually the one that put me and Diane Franklin in contact with each other. So this would not have been possible if it wasn't for DJ Stephen Wayne. So thank you so much. Everybody, keep your fingers crossed that we actually make that video happen with me and Diane driving around, checking out the filming locations for Last American Virgin. How cool will that be? Something definitely to look forward to. So keep your fingers crossed. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.